If you live in a town and you have a stove or a fireplace, there is a useful source of pre-fuel, wood. Now, people in the countryside generally know what to do with firewood, and you've generally got to be pretty quick off the mark if a tree's coming down or someone's giving away some wood. But not so in the town. It's often a liability. This is the stuff I've been given over the course of the last 3 or 4 months this winter. From the back, a stack of pallets from my daughter's workplace. It's one of those companies, they get occasional deliveries, so that it's not worth the guys that pick up pallets time to go to take up 1 pallet or 2 pallets. So they accumulate around the back, and they've either got to pay to have them taken away, or they let me know, and I'm happy to come and collect them. This is some timber from a friend's garden. They had a tree which was overhanging. It had to come down. They said, first of all, do you want to come and cut it up? I went to have a look at it. Doing forestry inside a town is actually very, very difficult, because generally you're going to end up dropping a tree on a fence or a car or a road. So I had to refuse this job, but they said, well, we're going to get someone in to take it down anyway. Will you take the wood? Certainly, I said. So that's ended up being given this stack of firewood. It was cut up into these lengths. All I had to do was collect it. I was cutting seaweed from the beach the other day, and I picked up a bit of driftwood as well. I know it's not quite urban forestry, but it's wood and it's gone on the pile. If you're going to go in for urban wood retrieval, urban forestry, there's a basic set of kit you'll need. I'll show you around. Starting with the trailer, that's pretty obvious. You can't generally put it in your car unless it's in very small pieces. So you need something, this is ideal, obviously. If you're a builder with a van, you can use that. And here's the rest of the kit you'll need. Starting from the left, 2 chainsaws. This one is a petrol driven one. If you're on site and there's no easy access to electricity, you'll need this. Obviously it comes with a few bodily fluids as well. Much easier and quieter in the town if you are within range of electricity is an electric powered one. You haven't got the problems of running out of fuel, and it's a lot easier to start, and it's quieter. Essential kit for any chainsaw work: set of protective trousers. These will ideally stop the thing from going into your legs should you slip. Never work without a pair. Likewise, some stout gloves and a proper chainsaw hat. It's both a hard hat, set of ear muffs and a face shield. Also very useful is this chainsaw bench. The saw fits in it, goes in like here. You can hold pieces of wood like this, and there's a grippy thing. Great for logging things up. You'll also need a means of sharpening the chain on the saw. I use this chainsaw jig, which is a dedicated kit for sharpening chains. It's adjustable and does a very quick job of sharpening the chain. I'm going to demonstrate a couple of ways of cutting up logs. The first one is the simplest. Lay the log on the ground, slice it, turn the log over, slice all the rest of the way through. I'll show you how. Voila. The other way of cutting up logs safely is using a jig like this. So you just pop your log in. Another piece of kit you'll need once you've cut your logs is an axe. Now, please note there are two types of axe. This one is for cutting down trees. This one is for splitting logs. Note it's a lot thicker. Don't use the wrong kind of axe. Not only will it get you into a world of pain, but people that know about these things will laugh at you. Splitting itself is fairly straightforward. Just like that. When you split wood like this, it's exposing a big surface of the interior of the log to air. You need to dry the wood, and this helps the drying process. So there we go, that's the pile all cut up and chopped. It's not ready to burn yet. I'll have to stack it all up somewhere fairly sunny and where the wind can blow through the logs. And I'll season it over the course of the summer, and I'll be burning it next winter. But even with the extra effort there, it's all worthwhile. Anyone that's familiar with buying wood from that, the garage forecourt in a little bag, will instantly be able to calculate that this was worth the effort. The hour it took me to collect it and a couple of hours it's taken me to cut and chop it is quite remunerative. And when you look around you in your average English town or city, you see that there are trees everywhere. And yet we don't do much urban forestry in Britain, despite the fact that our cities and towns, often they're woodlands, particularly the suburbs. It really is a resource that's right on the doorstep of anyone living in a town. Often people that have got trees, like the one that came down here, they don't know what to do with them. Even if they have them taken down, the wood is an embarrassment. They end up to ask the council to take it away and things like that. So if you've got a wood burner in a town and you're prepared to put in a bit of work, just get your name around as the bloke that'll come and collect a load of wood. You'll be surprised. The phone will ring pretty quick.